Hello and welcome to my review of the sequel to Coming to America 2. Before I start, please don't forget to subscribe and let me know what you thought of the film below, and don't forget to also hit that like button. The movie itself is based around Eddie Murphy's character realizing he has a son that he wasn't aware of, so he has to go back to America to bring him back to Zamunda. There is also a subplot here in relation to his neighbour, played by Wesley Snipes' character. Now he finds out that Wesley Snipes wants to overtake his kingdom and none of his daughters can be hired to it because they're women. Also sexist, but this is a movie that was first shot 20 years ago and some of those themes are clearly getting followed through. Hence, so when he goes finding his son, the logic is that his son will come back, marry one of this Wesley Snipes' daughters, and therefore they can live happily ever after. Straight away you can tell that it's not going to be a great movie just from that synopsis, and the storyline is so weak here. What's worse is that they reused the comedy that worked 20 years ago, and yes, there are parts which you're like, okay, that's a little bit funny, but it's not for the modern world. And I think this movie is really only going to appeal to those hardcore people that enjoyed the first one. And I enjoyed the first one, but I still thought, wow, could you not have thought anything new, anything original? There are some good areas. The McDonald's ripoff is still quite funny and still quite quirky, and some of the jokes and some of Eddie Murphy's characters, where he plays 7 or 8 of them, do come out with some good one-liners, but they do feel really repeated, and because of this you get bored quite quickly. Wesley Snipes also plays a really good character. He's over the top and really engaging, and I think he really excels in the role, especially his little chuckle that he does. That kind of kept me wanting to watch the movie, even though I struggled to watch the movie. I think the big issue with this movie is to do with the cultural appropriation. Now, when it was shot 20 years ago, a lot of this was almost acceptable, but these days you have so many bigger African-esque movies coming out, such as Black Panther came out. I mean, it doesn't work in the era anymore. I think they should have shot this maybe 2 years after the first one and it probably would have got away with it. And now that people understand that you can't just pigeonhole cultures or pigeonhole where people are from or the way they speak, I think this movie really shows you that that's what the comedy of the first one was based on. So it's not really okay anymore. Now, I'm not saying that this movie is racist in any way, or it's basically bringing these very monochromatic views, but what it is doing is not going to appeal to anyone who actually wants to watch a movie for its humour, where everything isn't repeated. Finally, I'm actually struggling to say much more about it, because I think if I start talking about it, I'll probably tell you exactly what's going on, and hence why I kept the synopsis so brief. But what I think I'll say is this movie is going to get a D-, and that's because it is dire. Don't watch it unless you really are a big fan of the first one. Let me know what you thought of the movie, as I mentioned before, and put it in the comments below, and look out for my next review, which will be Raya and the Last Dragon.